Welcome agents to this video, and this time we're going to have a look at how I conceived and executed a ridiculous plan to get my Onyx Mind Controller medal. So first off, we're going to have a look at stats, and you can see that I'm currently on 182,396,534 AP of all time, and then we'll go into the Mind Controller medal itself, which stands currently at 32,287 fields, which is rather a lot, but we're still shy by a grand total of 7,713, which is quite a lot to be able to do in the 3 weeks that I've got planned. Then we're going to have a look at our Lincoln medal. So that one currently stands at 41,190, and yeah, the total needed for that to go Onyx is absolutely ridiculous, so we're not even going to think about that one at all. So in total, we've got a grand total of 2,571 fields to make every single week for 3 weeks on average. It's a big ask. Let's see if we can do it. So you'll see then the method that we're using. Of course, we're going to use a field engine for this one. And this field engine was rather big. Well, obviously we're aiming for 2,500 plus fields a week. We're not going to get that this week. As a matter of fact, it's just going to be a case of getting as near to that as possible using this field engine, and afterwards filling in a few gaps here and there and trying to make up the difference in between in the working days of the week. So we'll have a look at the end of this week's use of the field engine, and it'll give us an approximation of just how many fields we're going to need to do during the working week, filling in gaps here and there in random places as we pass them. But hopefully it's a manageable amount in 3 weeks. The next thing to do then is to say what kind of a field engine it is. Well, in this case, it is a decay engine, and it's a rather large one. Obviously, we're aiming for a huge amount of fields in this decay engine, so using viruses is not quite as efficient, especially if you're going to use them 3 weeks in a row. And I don't really know how many people have got access to that many viruses. It would take quite a lot. So instead, I set up a really big field engine, and it covers 3 different villages and my town as well. So you can see the spine there. The spine is all about my town. And this is the first village, or rather the outskirts of the village that you can see in the first anchor we're going for here. And you'll also see very shortly, there it is. That is me putting my phone in my pocket, and then we magically arrive at the next anchor, and fantastic, it hasn't decayed yet. And let's just get that extra field in whilst we're going. As I say, it is the outskirts of a village, and the gaps between the portals are quite large. So actually what I'm doing whilst I'm recording this is I'm on my bike, and I'm cycling many miles to 3 different villages, going between them all and using as many portals that will actually fit our decay engine as possible to be able to do this in 3 weeks to get that almost 8,000 fields needed to get that Onyx Mind Controller badge. And then sometimes you're also going to see, like it is at the moment, that actually we're going to have a bit of waiting time between the decay of the first and then the next one and the next one, because actually I set it with quite a generous amount of time in between portals. I've got to cycle between them and at the same time wait for them to decay, but in the meantime I've also got to give myself enough time to throw all the fields, and there's a lot of fields to throw as well. So it is pretty generous, and it is a little bit slow in places, but obviously I've sped it up for the purposes of this video as well. I've cut out all that travel time so you don't have to watch all the boring nonsense where the phone is actually just dead in my pocket. You can also see that I'm doing that tried and tested method of clicking on the portal, clicking off the portal, clicking back on it, as if that is going to make the decay any faster. I probably just lost track of the time. I do have a great big list of all the decay times of every single portal on this decay engine, so I should know. And there's the first one finally decaying, so that we can get on with the second portal now. I find then one of the trickiest things whilst you're under such time constraints is actually just finding the portals. So if you can actually get to the next portal before the previous one decays and you can throw another field, so just that cheeky little field you get in between them, then actually it saves you finding one of your main anchors. And so in this case it was the closer of the anchors, and I could just scroll through to the furthest one, and it just helps shave off a little bit of time trying to actually find the portals in the right order. Another thing that I had to learn really quite quickly is that you don't actually have to scroll through all the portals or the keys that are on the bottom of the screen actually, and you can just press on the purple nodules, and obviously the one that's yellow at the moment is the one that it's on. Just click off it to the one in the right order and it'll just move for you. It does shift about after you throw every link, and it can get a bit frustrating when it just goes to the next closest and the next closest rather than the one that you actually want, but it does work a little bit easier if you're clicking on onto those pink purple nodules as well. And then you can see, just to give you a bit of perspective, just how many keys are needed to run something of this scale. So we're 2 portals down and we've got 48 of each of those keys, and there are around about 28 portals on our spine nowadays. It's just got a little bit more efficient recently as well. So I think there are 29 now. But yeah, that is a lot of keys, a huge amount of keys. So my inventory is absolutely maxed out and beyond at the start of this video, and it will be each successive week as well, because just the amount of keys needed in the inventory to be able to run this beastly decay engine. So if you made it this far into the video and you're thinking, what on earth is he talking about? What is a decay engine? Then I've made a couple of videos previous. One's all about how to set up a decay engine. Basically, it works on the principle that it takes exactly 7 days for a portal to decay, and you can use that instead of using viruses if you're very careful with your timings. And then there's also another video that I've made, a tutorial about how to set up a field engine, which will teach you how on earth you get this wonderful spine going on here, and why on earth you also get 2 fields per throw instead of just 1 per link. It's worth bearing in mind then that some of the links that we're throwing don't work on the traditional, it's just a spine with lots and lots of linear portals right next to each other in a very, very handy order. Some of them are also split fields, like the one you can just see, and they also work for 2 fields per link as well. And then at the end, I occasionally just throw the odd link just for the linking medal as well, because, well, that one's a pretty much impossible goal that I'll be working on forever and ever. And this wonderful grey portal that I'm stood on at the moment is an indication that, yeah, we don't always get things perfect. So that was set up as part of this wonderful decay engine, and it had all the correct mods, and unfortunately I didn't take a key for it, and therefore I couldn't recharge one of the resonators and it just died. So unfortunately, it means that I'm missing out on a good 50 plus fields because one of them is incorrectly timed. But here we go, there you can see there's my timings, and I just need to scroll down, see which minute this one's on, and deploy it at the correct time. That then involves looking at that clock, looking at the portals, looking at the sky, thinking about, oh my god, how long is this going to take? And finally, when I cut out a great big chunk of video here, look, there we go, we can actually start deploying it at the right minute. So it matches up nicely into the timings that I'd written into my field engine timings, and then I can just cycle off to the next one. But yeah, we're never perfect, and it doesn't always work as well as you might want it to. And unfortunately, these kind of mistakes cost you quite dearly in the long run as well. But it's set up in preparation for next week, so we'll all go for that. Fantastic. Alright then, I'll tell you at this point, we've skipped a huge amount of portals just then, because otherwise this recording would be over the course of many hours. So every week I spend about 2 hours running this field engine, so that's cycling between 3 different villages. Fortunately, it was really nice weather, and I really enjoyed having the excuse to go out and, well, 1, get a bit of exercise, and 2, play a bit of Ingress, which is really quite nice. So about 2 hours every single week, and then a little bit of time afterwards going around the villages again, and setting them up and deploying every single portal again in preparation for the next week. So this is the final portal of week 1, and we're just going to work our way through the spine, and you can see there are a few like annoying messages. I think it gets worse and worse the more you play. So the more portals I've used as the anchor to run this field engine, the worse it's actually getting. And so you can see the portals pop back up here and there, link already exists, all those error messages, and it's really tricky to ignore them. You keep pressing link and they keep popping up, and then you get all these errors. But this is the final one. This is portal number 50, I think, 50 or 51, because I messed one of them up. And we'll have a look at my stats and the gains that I've had over the course of week 1 after this segment of the video. I'll also point out that it wasn't just me farming all the keys and the gear for this. Of course it wasn't. It was a massive effort, and I'm also between weeks making sure that I've got the 1500 or so keys necessary. So here we go. Anyway, you can see that I'm now on 185,996,559, which is a great gain of 3,600,025 AP. But of course, I haven't even got an Apex on when I'm running this, because the AP is not the important thing at all. As a matter of fact, it's more about the fields in this case. So So the fields then has gone to 34,802, which is a great gain of 2,515. And then at the same time, when we have a look at how many links the connector medal we have made a grand total of 1,450, which you'll see right now. So we're currently on 42,640. So as I say, almost 1,500 keys needed to run this field engine, which is a massive amount of effort. So thanks to all involved. And yeah, it took a lot of effort, and it's obviously a little bit daunting for some as well, but yeah, definitely worth it if you're like me, you like a bit of exercise to get out and play a bit of Ingress at the same time. With that said then, we're going to have a look at week 2. So if we jump over to week 2, you can see we're at our starting position. Funnily enough, it's exactly the same as last week's, and you can see I'm already making a mistake because I'm currently doing my drone hack, which means that I haven't got all the keys out that I'm going to need during the course of this run. Anyway, let's see how we get on. So week 2, let's start with the stats. I'm currently on 187,233,594, which is a gain of 1.2 million or so during the midweek. When it comes to the fields, I'm currently on 35,184, which is a gain of 382 during the midweek. And then at the same time, when it comes to the links, I'm currently on 42,937, which is a gain of 297. So actually in town, we also have a tiny little decay engine that I'm also running in the middle of the week, besides this giant 50 link one that we're going to have a look at in this as well. Completely mad, I know, but I set myself a goal and let's see if it's possible. So when it comes to week 2 anyway, you can see here that I've jumped all the way immediately to the last portal. It's already fielded, it's already done. We're just going to have a quick look at the stats and see the gain for this one, and then I'll do a little bit more when it comes to the final week. Looking at the stats then, I'm currently on 191,016,102 for week 2, which is a gain of 3,782,508 this time. And then when it comes to links, because I'm weirdly doing it in the wrong order, I'm on 44,458, which is a gain of 1,521. And then when it comes to fields, finally, 37,813 is a gain of 2,629 fields, which is pretty awesome actually. It's slightly better than week 1. If you remember, I accidentally messed up week 1 and didn't recharge one of the anchors, and you saw me actually redeploying it in this week's video, or in the earlier part of the video. Unfortunately then, yeah, I accidentally didn't recharge that same portal again, and I'm actually going to be a little bit less efficient when it comes to week 3, but never mind. You can have a look at a few of my stats here over on Agent Stats, and let's just have a think about it. Are we actually online for the target? Are we actually making the amount of fields that we need, which we said earlier on was a average of 2,571 per week? And the answer is yeah, of course we are. We're actually doing very, very well, and we should be way over target when it comes to completing week 3. I think it's all about setting manageable goals, which I can well understand that. Some people might think, what, 8,000 fields in 3 weeks? That's not really a manageable goal, but at the same time, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I like getting out on the bike and riding around all the villages. It's not a bad way to spend my time. Of course, then the final thing to cap off week 2 is just a reminder that yes, everything after you've used it needs redeploying. Can be a bit tedious, especially just there thinking I've just come this way and now I have to do the entire reverse order again and set it up, especially when you're cycling through 3 villages, which takes quite a while, but actually sunny days, not bad. Alright then, it's the final week, and let's have a look at a few stats and what I've done in the midweek. It's not very much. So I've gained a grand total of 404,886 AP, not much, but then I was on target this week, so I didn't really need to go crazy. I've gained a total of 39 fields, not very many, but whatever, I'm still on target. And then I've gained a total of 104 links as well. But yeah, absolutely, we're well on target. We just need 2,148 fields, which we should be able to do very easily when it comes to this week's use of the Decay engine. So for the final week, I'll do first and last only, and then we'll have a look at a few stats and see that it is actually possible to do around about 8,000 fields in the course of 3 weeks. So yeah, 2 anchors, the near anchor, the far anchor, and work your way through the spine, as you can see, like we've done so many times before, making sure to get the order of the split fields correctly as well. And yeah, you'll get 2 fields every single throw. It's pretty efficient and it works really nicely. So you might then be thinking, what on earth comes after this one? You get your Mind Controller medal, Onyx, and then what else? Do you go for Connector? Well, my answer to that one's no. It's far too difficult. It's another 50,000 links. So that'll come eventually, but it'll come after, well, quite a few years of gameplay if I'm still playing. And so that's not really the next obtainable goal. Actually, I'll focus on something else. So that might be working on mods. That's not too far off. It might be working on the next scout medals. That's also pretty close, although I really hate the scanning function. I think that's a really awful medal, and I think it's just using the player base, but whatever, that's just my gripe at Niantic. Yeah, there's a couple of things that'll be close enough and realistic targets to set myself, and I'll just be changing my game style to fit the next medal, basically. So I think that's one of the really nice things about playing Ingress, is that we all play the game in slightly different ways. And so for me, I really like to get the medals black, but other people might then like their recharge game, they might like their translator game, and they might be working on how to be the world's best at one particular medal, which is absolutely fantastic. It's also worth saying that, well, I really like the event play, so playing in anomalies, going to mission days, and the social side of things are also fantastic. It's just a case of you do what you want to do in the game, and hopefully you enjoy what you're doing whilst you're doing it. Definitely. So in this case, we're on the final portal, the very last portal. We're going to have a look at the stats afterwards and see whether or not we've actually hit the Onyx medal on Mind Controller. And the other thing about my game, I don't know if you have the same thing, is that my medals never pop up, and I really liked it when they popped up. So, you know, if I had a new achievement, if I gained another medal, it used to pop up on my screen, but they don't. So unfortunately, I don't get that privilege, and you can't see it on my screen as it happens, unfortunately. Maybe that's a common fault. Maybe, hopefully it's not just me. I know of a couple of other people that actually it happens to as well. Anyway, last few portals, and then we'll get into the stats and see just how well we did over the course of 3 weeks. So the current field engine then, it's 50 anchors today, 50 anchors in the 3rd week. It's still kind of set up, but the last time I tried to use it after this video, unfortunately I messed it up and my phone died halfway through, so a lot of it's not deployed. And to be honest, there's not really that much use for it at the moment as well. It's pretty cold now, we're in winter, and yeah, when I was recording it, it was glorious sunshine, so unfortunately it's not really getting the use that it justifies or deserves. Anyway, let's have a look at the stats. You can see that currently then we're on 195,227,000. Mind Controller medal is at 40,489, so fantastic. We've overshot it by a good amount of distance. And then the linking medal Connector is 46,126. So in terms of the gains then, we've gained a grand total of 3,806,332 this week, and we've gained a grand total of 2,637 fields and 1,564 when it comes to links as well. But there it is, you can see that medal, the one that we've been shooting for 3 weeks, and in the interim we've also got a huge amount of peace links, so we managed that medal very, very convincingly too. But yeah, that's what we've been gunning for this entire 3-week escapade, and it paid off, and it was good fun doing it too. So I'll pretty much finish up this video by showing you a bit of our spine currently. You can see how awfully deployed it is, and that it's currently owned by Jarvis. 2 of the mods are pretty useless for us. They are pineappled, but does it really make a difference? Do pineapples really make a massive difference when it comes to being able to get lots and lots of AP, lots of fields? No. It's the simple answer. Don't let them get you down. And they are just part of the game. It's very strategic. Don't worry about it at all. And just carry on as best you can. As ever then, if you've got any questions or any comments you'd like to make on this video, by all means, leave it below, and I generally get back to you pretty quickly. I'm pretty good at that. Otherwise, yeah, feel free to leave a like and subscribe and those kind of great things about YouTube. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.